Hello and welcome to our CueWords exercise. So this is, among others, is one of my favorite exercises to do with athletes because a lot of times when we talk about self-talk, we get really, athletes get, and sports psychologists get very stuck on this idea of positive affirmations. And although positive affirmations are very important and very valuable, if we have some self-doubt or we don't believe that positive affirmation, it can actually undermine our confidence and undermine our success. And so it actually makes the self-talk worse. So we've talked about the idea of utilizing self-talk with evidence and with factual information in some of our other videos. And so this is just building on all of that. So in our keywords exercise, we're going to come up with 3 scenarios or 3 phrases or keywords that we're going to utilize to remind ourselves that we want to change our mindset. And so I think for athletes, there are 3 types of scenarios that we typically will be in that we need to reframe or we need to change our mindset. So one is we need to get energized. Maybe we're feeling a little bit fatigued, we're a little bit run down. We need to kind of just pump ourselves up. That's where we're going to have an energizing keyword. Sometimes we're feeling stressed out, we're nervous, we're anxious. We need to relax a little bit more. And sometimes also, sort of the third scenario that I think happens to most athletes is we've gotten distracted and we need to get refocused, whether by a mistake that we've made, something going on in the crowd or outside of the field of play, and we need to refocus. So we're going to come up with 3 words. And these 3 words, all right, are all listed here on these cue cards on the handout that you can download. I would really prefer if you could download this, write them out, but ultimately what you could do is even if you have pictures, because we're going to talk about these pictures and what they mean and how they're going to create memories. So we want to utilize pictures, and you're going to write your keywords on the back of the pictures. So you can download this form or you can utilize your own pictures. It doesn't really matter, but I want you to have them handy in your training gear. So when you're going to practice, when you go to competition, they're readily handy and you can pull them out whenever you need them. So we're going to focus on our energizing keyword first. So as you can see here, we have an athlete that actually happens to be me when I was competing. So I used to be on the national fencing team. And so this is a picture where we were competing against a strong, in the team event, against a very strong French team. And, obviously I was pretty pumped up in this. And so this was happening in Kesley, Hungary. And we ended up losing, unfortunately, 45-43. It was a very close match, very intense. And so whenever I think of that match, right, when I tap into that memory, I get goosebumps. Even just talking about it now, I get goosebumps. And it's a very old memory, and yet it still has the power to get me excited, to get me energized. So what I want you to do is I want you to think back to a competition. It could be even when you were a young kid to maybe if you're an adult to even something now. But I want you to think back to the most exciting, most memorable competition or event that you can think of, and then think of words to remember. Maybe you can remember the name of the other team. Maybe you remember the location or the venue that you were at. So for me, I can remember Kesley, Hungary. I can think of France, 45-43. These are all words or phrases that will make me think of that memory. And when I tap into that memory, automatically the neurons in my brain are going to turn on to get me excited. So we're utilizing our neurons and our neurobiology to really help us create a mindset that we're trying to get into. So again, in short, think of a memory that really gets you excited and amped up. Think of some words that help you remember that memory or detail that memory, and write that on this cue card or on the back of a picture. Now, moving on to our relaxation keyword. All right, same idea here. We want to think of a memory that's very soothing, very calming. So for me, I love Maui, Hawaii. So for me, it's Kanapali Beach in Maui. I can remember going snorkeling, finding turtles, just building sandcastles. It's just a very relaxing, calming memory. And even when I think of Kanapali in Hawaii, I can feel the sun on my face. So that's what we want to try and do. You want to think of a memory that's very soothing, very calming. I've had athletes that talk about their cabins or, looking up at the moon and the stars. Anything that makes you think of a soothing, calming memory will be fantastic. We just want to have some words, some phrases that are going to go along with it. The actual memory itself will never get old. It will always be powerful. But the words that we use to describe that memory, that might need to change every once in a while. Because if we're trying to do too much of just the words and repeat the same word over and over again, it's going to lose its power. So if we have a couple that kind of remind us of that memory, super powerful. Now our third key phrase is our refocusing word. And this is one where, having a memory doesn't always work for everybody. So sometimes we need to use more like a metaphor. It's the idea I always like to use is the idea of like a camera. All right. So when we lose focus, one of 2 things happens. We either get overwhelmed by all the information that's sort of going on. We kind of get overstimulated. So it's like we're paying attention to the crowd, we're paying attention to everything that's going around us, and not really paying attention to what's right in front of us that we need to do. Or we get tunnel vision. And so we're only focusing on one little thing, and we're missing important information around us that will help us be successful. So using like a cue word or a cue phrase can help us to shift and change that, and literally actually change our vision, change our attention of what we're paying attention to. So I always like to use the metaphor of a camera, right? If we have tunnel vision, we're kind of too focusing on something. Well, think of like the zoom button. We need to zoom out to see a little bit more. Or if we're overwhelmed by everything that's going on, we need to zoom in and focus on more important information. So that key phrase of zoom in and zoom out can be a fantastic way to kind of reset our brain. Not only is it going to get our actual vision to change, it's also going to get our mindset to change. So next time you lose focus, try using the phrase zoom in and zoom out and see if that helps you refocus onto the more important information at hand. See you next time.